having a clear record of all communication, a solid contract, and our attempts to accommodate her is what ultimately helped us win that dispute over the session fee. So yes, that was real, and yes, we won that dispute. Hey, Boudoir photographers, are you ready to be totally booked out with high-paying clients? I'm Tracy Lynn, and I went from side hustle photographer to running $1 million boudoir photography business, working just 30 hours a month. That's right, just 30 hours a month. On this podcast, I tell you how I did it and how you can too. Hey there and welcome back. Today we're diving into a crucial topic that every boudoir photographer needs to hear: understanding legal risks and protecting your business from potential lawsuits. A little disclaimer, I'm not your lawyer, and this is not legal advice. Every state is different, so please consult your own attorney. The reality is, while most photographers are never going to face the inside of a courtroom, conflicts with clients they're unfortunately inevitable. These conflicts can range from minor misunderstandings to significant disputes, and the key to resolving them just lies in what you agreed upon in writing. And of course, this comes with the potential for misunderstanding and conflicts. Whether it's about how the photos are used, what happens if a session gets canceled, or even how payment plans are managed, having clear written agreements can make all the difference between a simple resolution and a total legal nightmare. So today I'm going to break down some of the most common issues that can lead to legal trouble for boudoir photographers and how you can protect yourself. We're going to cover several key areas, including liability insurance, model releases, cancellations and rescheduling, payment plans, and even breach of contract. Remember, you have to have liability insurance. Accidents happen, and it's honestly essential to know how to handle them. Things like model releases are really important because you need to have that documentation in order to use client images in your portfolio and marketing materials. But what do you do if a client changes their mind after signing? And then with cancellations, clients' plans change, emergencies happen. You're going to need a solid policy in place to manage these situations without harming your business. And then you should offer flexible payment plan options. They're a great way to attract more clients, but it also opens up the risk of non-payment. So how can you protect yourself? And then, of course, with breach of contract, what if you don't deliver what you promised, or if a client feels that you haven't lived up to your end of the bargain? That's what we're talking about today. So buckle up and get ready for a deep dive into these aspects of running a boudoir photography business. By the end of this episode, you're going to have a much clearer understanding of how to protect yourself legally and ensure that your business thrives without the constant fear of getting sued. So let's start with, what if your client gets hurt during a session? Let's say you're in the middle of the session and your client suddenly trips over your light stand, falls, and she breaks her arm. What are you going to do? Are you responsible? The answer might be yes. You do owe your clients a safe environment, legally speaking. You should regularly conduct inspections of your space and document them meticulously. This not only helps you maintain a safe environment, but it also provides a record that can be invaluable if an accident occurs, demonstrating that you've taken responsible steps to ensure the safety of your client. A few things that you should be looking for include keeping your cables taped down securely, storing your equipment properly when not in use, and making sure walkways are clear. Regularly check that light stands, tripods, and other equipment are stable and they're not easily going to be knocked over. But remember that accidents happen, even in the safest environment, and having comprehensive liability insurance is your best line of defense. Liability insurance can cover medical expenses and legal fees if a client decides to sue you after getting injured in your studio. Review your policy thoroughly to understand what's covered and ensure that it includes accidents that occur on your premises and during sessions. This coverage allows you to focus on your business without the constant worry of potential lawsuits. Including a liability clause in your client's contracts is also a wise move. This clause should clearly state that the client understands the potential risks associated with the session and agrees not to hold you liable for accidents that occur. While this may not completely absolve you of responsibility, it can provide a layer of protection by showing that the client was informed of the risks and agreed to proceed anyway. Make sure to have a lawyer review your contract to ensure it's legally sound and covers all necessary bases. Let's move on to the model release. Repeat after me. Never share photos without explicit documented permission. But let's say that you finally have a client. She signed your model release to allow you to use her images in your portfolio and marketing materials. This isn't super common in boudoir photography. So when it happens and you love that work that you created, you're so excited. But what happens if she changes her mind later? First, it is imperative to always use a separate model release form that is distinct from your main contract. This form should clearly outline what signing the release entails, explain that it gives you the right to use their images for specific purposes such as marketing or portfolio work. By providing this information in a separate document, that emphasizes its importance and ensures that the client fully understands what they're agreeing to. Also, be sure to give your clients ample time to decide after you've given them the form. Encourage them to read it thoroughly and ask any questions they might have. This builds trust and ensures that they are making an informed decision. Despite all precautions, there may be instances where a client decides to retract their consent. While this might be inconvenient, it is crucial to respect their decision. It doesn't matter why they've chosen to do so. You just need to go ahead and take them down. So remove the images properly and make sure that you do it as quickly as possible. That demonstrates your commitment to client satisfaction and privacy, but you also need to be transparent about the limitations involved in this process. Explain that while you can take photos down from your website and social media, images shared on third-party sites or printed materials, they might not be fully retractable. This is what I would say in response to this situation. I completely understand and respect your decision to retract the model release. I will remove your photos from my website and social media accounts immediately. However, please note that it might not be possible to retrieve all instances of your images, especially if they've been shared or printed by third parties. I will do my best to ensure that your images are removed to the extent possible. In practice, handling these requests gracefully enhances your reputation, and clients will appreciate your flexibility and respect for their wishes, which can lead to positive word-of-mouth referrals. Let's talk about how to handle client rescheduling and cancellations, which is a common issue that can disrupt your workflow and impact your income. Here's a scenario that might have already happened to you or happen to you in the future. The day of the session, when you're already on the way to the studio, the client contacts you and says her daughter is in the emergency room. Of course, emergencies happen. So you accommodate her request and reschedule. Then the rescheduled date comes around and you and your makeup artist are already at the studio. Another no-show. This time, the client claims that they were in a car accident. This pattern continues with the client providing last-minute excuses and not informing you until immediately after the session or maybe during the session. After multiple reschedules, you finally decide to cancel her appointment and retain her session fee. The client then disputes the session fee and the money is withdrawn from your account during the investigation. Here's how you can manage a situation like this effectively. The most important thing is you need to have clear terms in your contract regarding rescheduling and cancellations. This clause should outline the conditions under which rescheduling is permitted and any associated fees and the consequences of cancellation. For example, our contract does allow for rescheduling, but it has to be with a 14-day notice. If it's within those 14 days, the client is charged a $150 fee. Of course, you have the discretion to not charge this fee if a true emergency arises. For outright cancellations, clearly that results in forfeiting the session fee. The rescheduling fee and the forfeiture of the session fee compensates the studio for the time and resources already allocated to the session, especially if you have expenses like rentals or hair and makeup fees, or you have an associate photographer for the session. This also encourages clients to respect your scheduled date. But back to our scenario, keeping detailed records of all communication with the client was absolutely crucial. This was something that actually happened to us. We documented every single email, text message, and phone call related to the client's behavior and requests. Having a clear record of all communication, a solid contract, and our attempts to accommodate her is what ultimately helped us win that dispute over the session fee. So yes, that was real, and yes, we won that dispute. Now let's talk about payment plans and concerns with payment plans. Here's a scenario. You have a client, she loves your work, and she desperately wants to book a session or place a very large order, but she can't afford to pay the full amount up front. She asks if she can pay in installments. You want to accommodate her, but you're worried about the risks that come with payment plans, which can impact your cash flow and business operations. Of course, there are secure managed payment options like Cherry or Affirm. These services handle the payment plans externally, allowing you to receive the full payment upfront while the client makes payments directly to them over time. This approach actually eliminates the risk of non-payment on your end. The service pays you in full and the client deals with them directly for their installment payments. These services can be very helpful, providing you with immediate funds and peace of mind. But if you prefer to manage payment plans in-house, it's crucial to establish clear terms and have clients sign a detailed agreement. This agreement should specify when payments are due, what happens if a payment is missed, and the consequences of non-payment. Here are some best practices to follow. Number 1, you want clear payment terms. Make sure your agreement outlines the payment schedule, due dates, and the amount for each installment. Clarity is key to avoiding misunderstandings. Number 2, the order. Specify the products such as photo albums or prints. They will only be ordered once the payment plan is complete, even if you retouch the digital images after the first payment is made just to have them ready to go. This protects you from spending money on expensive products that can be returned or used elsewhere before you've even been fully paid. And number 3 is automatic payments. And to ensure payments are made on time, take 2 forms of payment and run the payments yourself on specified dates. I like this proactive approach because it reduces the risks of missed payments because you are visually seeing it go through. And if the first payment doesn't go through, then you have the second payment option. And then number 4, non-completion of payment plan. You need to include a clause stating that if the client does not complete their payment plan, all payments made up to that point are non-refundable, and the client will not receive any products or images. By following these guidelines, you create a clear, enforceable structure that protects both you and your client. This approach ensures that you are compensated fairly for your work and the resources you invest in every single session. Let's discuss the most common reason photographers get sued, and that's breach of contract. This typically happens when a client feels they did not receive what was promised. Let's set the scene. Your client books a boudoir session with you, excited by all the beautiful images on your website and the glowing reviews. She signs a contract that outlines the details of the session, what she will receive, and the expected delivery timeline. However, after the session, she feels that the quality of images does not match what was advertised, or she receives the photos much later than promised. Disappointed, she decides to take legal action, claiming breach of contract. I'm going to be blunt. You have to do what you say you will do. Integrity is the cornerstone of business. When you promise something to a client, you have to ensure that you can deliver on those promises. And most importantly, you need to clearly outline what clients can expect in terms of deliverables and timelines in your contract. Also, you should regularly review and update your contracts to ensure that they are comprehensive and fair. If you regularly review your contract, that allows you to adjust terms as needed, ensuring that they remain relevant and protect both you and your client. Always consult a lawyer to make sure that your contract covers all necessary bases and reflects the current scope of your services. Keep lines of communication open with clients. That's super key. From the initial consultation to the final delivery, maintain clear and consistent communication. That will help manage expectations and address concerns before they actually happen. For example, if you encounter an unexpected delay in delivering the photos, inform your clients as soon as possible. Explain the reason for the delay. Provide a new expected delivery date. This transparency can prevent misunderstanding and show your clients that you value their experience and their satisfaction. I will say that right there during COVID, a lot of times I did have some issues with FedEx delivery, and I just made sure that I maintained that clear communication with my clients. And while a lot of times FedEx was a little bit later, they were still very happy because I was communicating with them and taking control of it proactively. Managing your workflow and processes efficiently is vital to ensuring timely delivery. So develop a streamlined workflow for editing and delivering your images, and then stick to it. Use tools like project management software to keep track of deadlines and progress. Automate reminders for key milestones in your process to ensure nothing slips through the cracks. By managing your workflows effectively, you can consistently meet the deadlines you promised in your contracts, keeping your clients happy. Remember, protecting your business legally is just as important as the creative aspects of photography. I know I don't talk about the legal side very often, but I felt like this was super important. But remember, it is essential to consult with professionals regularly to review your contracts and insurance policies. This ensures that your documents are up to date and comprehensive, offering the best protection for your business. Experts can help you identify any gaps or weaknesses in your setup and suggest improvements that could save you a lot of trouble down the road. Being proactive and diligent about the legal side of your business allows you to focus on what you love the most, which is capturing beautiful, empowering photos. By taking these precautions, you can operate with confidence and peace of mind, knowing that you are well protected against potential legal issues. So stay vigilant. Keep your contracts and communication clear, and do not hesitate to seek professional legal advice. Being proactive and diligent about the legal side of your business enables you to build a thriving, respected boudoir photography business, free from the looming fear of legal problems. And remember, I still have 15-minute coaching calls, totally free, no pitch. These are not for legal advice, but if you have any questions about your photography business, pricing, marketing, anything about your business in general, make sure that you click the link in the show notes, and I would be happy to jump on a call with you and chat about your business. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sustainable Freedom with Boudoir Photography. Please be sure to rate and follow so that you never miss an episode. They drop every Thursday, and they're always full of super actionable information for you to apply right now in your boudoir business. Until then, make your next shoot your best shoot.